So in this video, we're going to talk about some of our favorite businesses that are relatively easy to start. I'm not going to say any business is easy to start, but comparatively, these are semi-easy to start and can earn a good amount of money. So we both kind of have a little list of businesses that we like, and we're going to kind of go over them and the potential opportunities for
Yeah,
each.
we're just going to shoot the biz here.
Yeah.
I think we'll just do a little talk on trends, on things we're seeing out there, things that we think if we were fresh, didn't have any money, didn't have any experience, where would we put our energy? What kind of business would we consider starting? And again, not all these are right for every city.
Right.
Let's
That's true.
start off by
Or
saying
region,
that. I mean,
yeah.
the first thing I would do on any of this stuff that we talk about is get on Google, write down the 10 companies in your area that do this, and call them all.
Yeah.
That's the way that I find out where the opportunities are.
Mm-hmm.
And if they answer the phone, if they turn around quotes quick, if they're not booked out a month, then maybe it's not ideal.
Mm-hmm.
But you'll find real quick that some of these are lacking. And you don't have to be the best company. You don't get scared off because there's one good company in town. These are big industries where all you got to do is pick up the phone. In my opinion.
You should be happy if there's one big player, because you could be the other big player.
Exactly.
There
Competition's
needs to be
not
competition.
bad.
Yeah.
So let's start. What do you got? You go first.
So for me, I live in Arizona, and if I had $0, I would do the exact same thing I did as when I had $0.
That's great. That's great. that means you're happy with your choices.
Yeah. And
Tell us what you did.
Yeah, that'd be to start a pool cleaning business again. I mean, basically, if you have a vehicle, you can start for like $700 or something like that, maybe even less, with some basic chemicals, a pole. If you don't have a vehicle and you live, somewhere with a bunch of pools, you can walk to pools until you can afford a vehicle to drive around. I did walk to landscaping jobs when I was like 13, just down the street, just kind of make it happen. But I like that business a lot because it's reoccurring income. So if you were to ever sell that business, it's way easier to sell. It's consistent throughout the year. You really don't lose clients during the winter. You might lose like 3%, 5%.
Do you just do less visits during the wintertime? Because I'm guessing in Phoenix people use their pools year round. But let's say most places they winterize them.
Yeah, most places winterize. In Phoenix, they don't use their pool. Most people don't have heaters, and it gets, the water's 40 degrees in the winter. But the first year I did it, I allowed people to drop their service down. The second year, I didn't allow anyone to. So it was just too much of a pain.
It got easier for the same amount of money.
Yeah.
Wow.
So you're using way less chemicals. And the pools basically don't get green if the temperature's, I think, below 55 degrees. Algae can't grow. I don't know. I think that's the number. So yeah, it's way easier, like half the year. But you kind of pay for that in the hot season when everything wants to grow out of the pool. Mm-hmm. So yeah, reoccurring income there. You can charge about $100 a month per pool. You can charge higher if you're really trying to go in like the upscale area. The market is huge. I think it's a $6 billion a year industry, and there's so many bad pool cleaners. Mm-hmm. Almost every account I ever got was from someone who was using a pool cleaner who was offering crappy service. Mm-hmm. And people just don't want to think about their pool. Mm-hmm. Especially in warm areas. So that's
a lot of people get fed up with it at random times too. Like they'll be doing it themselves, and one day they're just fed up with it.
Yep.
I love businesses where you can target with creative, basically free marketing too. Like who needs pool services,
right?
Because they have a pool,
right?
It's pretty darn easy.
Yeah.
To figure out who needs them, get in front of them in any way you can.
You can go on Google Maps and see which houses have pools too if you're really trying to, target down. And also by cleaning someone's pool, I've said this before. It's basically a license to have first dibs at any broken thing that happens in the pool. And that's like the larger ticket, higher price kind of repair items with higher margins, because those margins on that is around 40%. And the average repair is probably around $350. And
so if you're willing to put in the work and learn those things.
And they're easy. Most of them are intuitive. I'm not super mechanically inclined, and I could figure them out when I first started. And basically everyone I hired could figure them out. And you have YouTube that, you do something once, you know how to do it.
So you get your supplier of pool parts, and boom, you can start making $100 an hour for extra work.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's so easy. And a lot of pool cleaners don't do that. So there's an opportunity to connect with other pool cleaners who don't want to do their repair work. And then sometimes you end up looking like the expert, in someone's yard, and then they want to use you. There's just
and you can
so
go to
many
the people
ins.
who sell pools,
Yep.
get in with them. We're all about finding people who can refer business.
Yep. So. Work with landscapers because they're dealing with the same people who are willing to pay for a service in their yard.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I'm getting excited just thinking about marketing that business.
Yeah.
I bet it was pretty fun for you because you love that stuff.
Oh, I mean, I still own a pool cleaning business. It's just small because I sold the first route that I have. But I always think about what if I just focused on that because I like the business so much. Like, where would it be at this point? I try not to think about it too much, but like, man, I would have so many accounts right now if that's the only thing I focused on.
Do you think it'd be more profitable than your moving company?
I mean, it has the potential to.
Wow, I didn't think that was going to be a question. I thought it was going to be no, absolutely not.
When I think sale price wise, you can sell a pool company for a lot more than you can sell a lot of other service companies because it's
value.
Yeah, because it's reoccurring. Because I think the average business right now sells for 1.95 times earnings, but if you have a business with reoccurring, you can get that multiple up to around 4 or 5 times earnings. Yeah,
that's a huge value add. Huge value add.
Yeah.
Too many people think about the profit and how much money's in their bank account, and too few people think about the value that they're adding in the business. But selling a business is hard, as we know. Okay, I'll do one. I love closet building. I had to build my own closet here in Athens, Georgia, because I called the 2 people in town. They were both booked out a long time, and they were going to give me basically nothing for $3,000. They're going to put up some shelves, and some walls and some hangers. I got no drawers, nothing for me to put my clothes in. My goal was to get rid of my dressers. I think dressers in 10 years are going to be out of here. I don't see dressers sticking around long.
Yeah, no.
I think people are going to get bigger walk-in closets, have it all in there, all in one room. We love it. We did that in our room. And basically, I went online, spent about 25 hours total on the project, and got 3 times the closet for half the price. And it was fun and saved me a ton of money. And I think you can easily sell that stuff. I mean, I was on the 3rd page of Google, and I was done. There were no more companies.
Yeah.
So ranking in Athens, Georgia, or in a small town, or even in Atlanta, would not be impossible. You'd get some calls.
And this isn't even that small of a town. 300,000 people, I think, are in Athens.
Actually, it's only 100.
Oh, it's 100,000?
Yeah, but Metro, closer to 300. Okay. If you look at the people who shop here and drive to Athens to do their main commerce.
Yeah, I have the industry data on that. $10.5 billion in 2019 was the closet building industry.
I got to say, now that I have a built-out closet, I see wire racks and wire shelving in a closet, and that's the first thing I'll do to every house I move in. Yeah. Just because it's so much nicer.
Right.
So much nicer. Do you have built-out closets?
I have built out, but they're like old built out. Like I think it was like when the house was built, almost 20 years ago. So I've thought about rebuilding it myself.
Yeah.
And it's something creative. Like you get to kind of do something different every time you're on a job. That's a potential where it's a business where there could be a certain part of it that you like a lot. If you like the designing part, or you like actually working with your hands, there's a lot of different opportunities. If you like the selling aspect.
Oh, if you can sell, you got a huge advantage.
Right.
Because you can build the hutch, and you can build the dining room entry bench where people put their shoes under. Like my wife had a list 10 items long of the things she wanted to possibly get built. And if they trust you, man, and they got a little money, they will do it.
Yeah.
And I documented that whole thing. SweatyStartup.com. I documented my build out. I took pictures of my receipts and pictures of the before and after. If you want to see more about how I would actually start that business.
I'll link that in the description. I've read that. It's really good. And with that business, I like it a lot because you only need, based off of the average job size, average job is between $3,000 and $5,000 for a closet building. Some of them are up to like $50,000. But you only need between 200 and 300 jobs a year to hit $1 million a year in sales.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So let's do some basic math. I mean, I spent about $1,000 or $1,200 on materials. I would have charged $4,500 for what I did.
And that's not wholesale either.
And it took me, I would say, let's be very liberal and say it took 3 days. So do you have a calculator? 3 days, that means I can do 100 jobs a year, and I would have profited $2,000. We don't need a calculator for that. That's $200,000 profit to live on.
Right.
That's amazing.
It's pretty crazy.
So that's what I would do. And I would get a lot faster after that.
Oh, so much faster. You'd have a system in place. You'd be able to buy stuff cheaper. You'd have a guy who can do the quick, boring stuff for you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
The next one, talked about this before, it's a home inspection business. This is one of the cheapest ones to get into. If you're handy at all, it's super easy. Like you need like $200 worth of tools, and the certification is $700. And I think it's a 4-week online course. And why I like this one a lot is because the average home inspection is between like $200 and $500, depending on the size of the house. And one guy can knock out like 5 to 7 of these in a day.
Gosh.
So you can have a one-man business earning several $100,000 a year. If you have a couple people, you have to go home and do reports and stuff like that. So, if you have a couple people, there's the potential to do $1 million in sales with like 3 or 4 people total.
And there's really good software as a service out there that you can just download. You don't have to build your own
Oh yeah, they're
You
just
don't have
punching
to build
stuff
your
in
own
the
back
computer.
end. They're
Yeah.
using a $100 a month service that does it all for them. They're punching things right in. They're taking pictures. I also like it because it can go into things like thermal imaging,
Yep.
utility savings.
Yep.
And the reason why I really love the business is you get first look at everything that needs done on the house.
Mm-hmm.
And when
Refer
you're the
that
person
out.
delivering the news that work needs done, and you can deliver it in an honest way that makes these homeowners trust you,
Mm-hmm.
they will either let you refer them business or, God forbid, you want to start fixing some of this stuff yourself.
Yeah.
I'm talking like even if I just wanted to run a one-man shop, not even build a big business, it's a great way to earn a couple $100,000 a year.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Another thing you were saying is that it's all word of mouth as well.
Yeah, huge amount of word of mouth. I know that when I bought my house, the person who told me the inspector I should use, I don't even think I asked. They just said you should use this inspector, and I, whatever. Yeah, I'll use them. I think it was the person who was doing the loan closing at the mortgage office. It was like, you got to use this person. So really, it's just connecting with real estate agents, mortgage brokers, and being their friend. Go show up in the office. Make sure, you'll probably have to show up a few times, show that they're reliable, because really they don't want to refer someone that's going to be sketchy or potentially ruin a closing, especially if you're a real estate agent, because that could be the potential to lose a lot of referrals if you lose a closing.
You got to realize what everybody involved wants.
Yeah.
And the real estate agents and the loan officers, they want to close deals.
Right.
But also they want their clients to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can uncover some of these things and do that, then huge.
And also
huge
they
potential.
probably want free lunch every once in a while.
Yeah, you're good at that stuff.
Yeah.
You're good at doing the sales and then getting them.
Yeah, the schmoozing.
You're good at the schmoozing.
Yeah.
So if you're a salesman, natural born salesman like Max here, home inspection would be a very fun.
I have spreadsheets filled with stuff that people like. Like, this person likes donuts. This person has 2 dogs.
Yeah, so that when you go there, you can make sure they're still your friend.
Yep, exactly.
What's in it for me, Max? All right, I got one. Let's get right into, did we already do home cleaning and a home inspection? Pest control is another one. We don't have to talk too much about pest control,
Yeah.
but I absolutely love it because it's recurring business.
Yep.
And it is extremely low skilled. You're not going to mess anything up. You're not going to get calls that somebody drove a lawnmower into a lake or into sight of somebody's house or ran over somebody or threw a rock through an Audi. You're spraying. Like, if you can responsibly have a system to spray the chemicals on the home and in the home, it can be very low touch.
Potential for upsells on like organic chemicals or non, that aren't going to hurt the pets and stuff like that.
And if you're good at sales, it's a great business to build value, and it's worth a lot of money. Like, you can sell a pest control portfolio for a lot of money to these orcans and these people like that. So great biz. My brother's finding that weed control and fertilization is a lot more profitable than lawn care, and it's leading its way. He might even get into pest control this year because it's just so low touch to spray chemicals on and not worry about it.
Yeah, every time I've had my house sprayed, it takes 15 minutes. They're gone.
And they charge you $150.
Yeah. See you next month.
Yeah, it is competitive though. A lot of good companies out there doing it really well.
Yep.
They're doing it SEO well. They know how profitable it is.
There's a pest control company that's headquartered about 6 miles from my house, and they started in 2011, and they now have 58 trucks outside of their warehouse.
Jeez.
So
they figured out the sales game.
Yeah, they got it figured out, and they're 3 stars on Yelp.
Oof, that's not good.
I don't know how they do it.
Yeah,
They're
I
keeping
think
busy
Storage
somehow.
Squad's even more than that, and we're not good.
They're keeping busy somehow.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, you got one? You got another one?
Yeah, the next one, this is a little bit of a larger business. It's not one that you can start for free, but you could start it for under 20 grand, and it's a restoration company. This one stood out to me, and I did some research, because basically if you look in any city for businesses for sale, some of the top listings are almost always restoration companies that are selling for the highest amount of money. And really what I've figured out is it's just because there's so much money in the industry that there's enough room for 10, 20 restoration companies doing multiples of millions in sales a year. The industry is $210 billion a year in the United States for restoration.
Do they hurricane chase, or what are they doing?
No, not hurricane. It's mostly like smoke damage, water damage. I found a stat that said 14,000 people in the U.S. experience water damage every day, and there's someone fixing that.
Wow.
So they're basically contractors, and they do a lot of like pack out type stuff. They're getting paid by insurance companies, so the rates are 5 times higher than what it normally would be for a similar service.
So it's a lot of red tape. I think you got to know the systems. You got to know how the insurance companies work. You got to know how everything works.
Right. Yeah, you're working with a lot of different people. It's more complicated, but
I love a little bit of complexity.
Yeah. That steers a lot of people away. So if you're willing for a little bit more of a challenge, it seems like it's hard to fail in these businesses
Mm-hmm.
when you do it right, because there's so many like decently large ones.
I would go work for one off the bat.
Yeah.
I would love to get a job out of college or even out of high school, go work for a restoration company.
Yeah. Take
for
notes
5
on their
years,
systems.
learn everything
Yeah.
about it, get
Yep.
really good at doing it, even
Mhm.
if it's one type, and then move to the Florida Keys and do restoration in South Florida and fish half of the year and make great money the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Even if you wanted to have a small time business.
Right. Yeah. I mean, the thing is too, there's water damage everywhere. So you can move wherever you want.
Get in with plumbers because they call plumbers first, and then the
Mhm.
plumber says, "I don't fix drywall."
Right. Right.
Yep.
Yep. And with that also, you can contract out just about anything you don't want to deal with. So like some of them contract out moving companies to move the furniture out and do a
Take a
pack out.
cut. Take 10%
Yep.
of that. or
And
more.
then you're just the middleman taking a cut.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the average job price on that is around $13,000, and some as high as $60,000. So
Woo! Don't have to do very many jobs.
yeah,
Well, I guess the margins are low though. You got to hire out a lot of work.
right.
There's a lot of high touch. I love the high touch, high barriers to entry businesses though. I
Mhm.
love if you can get a skill like that where you're not competing with fly by nights and you're not competing with Craigslisters. You can get really good at what you do. Man, the margins I'm sure are really good.
Hmm.
I'm sure you're making 20. I'm sure that most of the big companies are 20% margins, and that's
Yeah, that's
awesome
why
in
they're all
service
selling
business.
for such high prices. Their cash flows are so high.
Love it. I want to talk about property management.
Okay.
I love real estate. You love real estate. We all love real estate. If you follow the Sweaty Startup or Max, we have a lot of interest in real estate. I love businesses that lead into real estate. And in my opinion, real estate is about data. It's about cash flow. It's about knowing how much revenue you can make from a piece of property and knowing what you're going to spend to operate the piece of property. If you have that data and you're sure of that data, you can go to anybody in this world and say, give me a little bit of money, and I'm going to get you an 8% return or
Yep.
12% return. So you can do this with almost no money. Get into real estate if you have the data. The best way to get the data on performance of real estate is to be a property manager. I'm in the self-storage management game.
Right.
I'm basically a property manager for self-storage facilities. I'm learning it. I'm learning the lease-up rates. I'm learning the marketing tactics. I'm learning the costs. I'm learning. I look at a storage facility anywhere in the country now, and I can almost guess what the returns would be if I owned it. And that's a really powerful situation to be in.
Very.
So if you have a goal to generate massive amounts of wealth, get into passive income through real estate, starting out as a property management company is amazing.
And what do you even need to start? A cell phone and some business cards?
Yeah, you need to be a little bit compelling and
Yeah.
be able to convince a couple people who own real estate to trust you to
Yeah.
take care of it for them. And
So
if you can get creative and you're willing, the problem with property management as it stands right now is these businesses are ran like it's 1980. They don't care.
Mhm.
They've been around for a really long time, and they don't use good marketing. They don't use, like here in Athens, really good example is my partner Dan was trying to move here to Athens, and he could not find a place to rent. Couldn't find it. There was nothing available. And in my opinion, if there's nothing available in a town, that means the rents are too low.
yeah.
But
Exactly.
none of the property management companies cared enough to raise the rents because it didn't affect their take that much, right? So they
Yeah.
weren't doing what economics tells you to do, raise the
Right.
rent up.
Yeah, is there some way that a new company could reframe the incentives? That was my first thought. Like, how could you sell it to an owner in a way that's like, if you're successful, I'm successful? Because right now, I think most of them just get like 10% off the
That's
top.
really interesting. So maybe you go to one way I can think of is you go to an owner and say, hey, I know you're renting this house that you pay this property management company. I know you're renting it for $450 a bedroom,
Mhm.
and you're paying the property management 10% of that. You're paying them $45 a month. I'll do it, and I'll give you the full $450, and I'll give you half of anything over $450.
There you go.
That's
Yeah,
easy,
I
right?
mean, that's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. If I owned that house, I would say, sure.
Mhm.
And you got to come to them and say, I already have people who want to rent it or something. I don't know. You
Yeah.
can get really, really creative in approaching these people. The great thing about real estate as well is it's all public record who owns these houses.
Right.
So Creative Max, put him in front of a computer with the public tax record. He's going to find a way to get in front and get coffee with some of these people who own this
Right.
property. And you'll be really surprised at how one or two people in a town can own so much real estate that if you get in with the right people
Mm-hmm.
and you show one person in little old Athens, Georgia, that you can make them really good returns on their property, boom, they're going to refer you to their friend or they're going to refer you to a real estate developer, and you can absolutely explode. I could see this business absolutely exploding with
Yeah.
potential.
Yeah, and this is one that's so expandable because there's so many people who have properties to rent out
Mhm.
and don't want to deal with it. And also, what came to mind as you were talking about this is vetting renters, because that would be a huge concern of mine. Okay, how are these people vetting renters? I personally, if I were to do it, I would vet the renters how I vet employees and try to, or potential employees, and try to disqualify as many people as possible. I'd make them kind of jump through some hoops in order to even be able to apply and even look at the house. And that way, that someone who's willing to put in, 5 or 10 extra minutes is going to be much more likely to be a good renter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just going to save you so much work in the end, not having to deal with turnover and stuff like that.
Yeah, the property management companies out there, they don't want to work, period. I'm not seeing them work hard for the people they're serving.
They're incentivized to not work. I think that's part of the problem.
Just collect 10% of that money every month. It's a beautiful business to be in. I can't imagine being in that business. Well, actually, I know what it's like. I'm seeing what it's doing, and it's money that comes in every single month for not a lot of work. If you know the right people, I mean, you're contracting out everything. You're contracting out the snow removal. You're contracting out the landscaping. If you can be a good steward of the money of the person as well. Dan ended up buying a condo, got in a condo association that's managed by a property management company. And the property management company is not good stewards of the money. So they're overpaying for contracts. They're overpaying for the cleaning. They're overpaying for the roof because it's not their money. They don't care.
Right. Yeah. How could we fix that? What could be an incentive on that?
I don't know. Maybe you set baseline data. Like you come to them with data.
Or we'll get 3 quotes for every single repair or something. Yeah.
Basically, you have to convince these landowners that are the property owners in our society that you're going to work hard for them.
Right.
Which is, we could get creative right here and think of some ways.
I think multiple quotes, because I think, like, not to say it ever happens, but if there's a damage on a move to someone's house and we're going to fix it for them, we require them to send us 3 quotes. That way it's not just the first guy who happens to answer, which is usually the most expensive person.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and that's another thing about the service
business.
Like yeah, just a general statement on the service business is that these contractors are very hard to get a hold of. So if you're a property management company that's pretty lazy, it's very plausible that you could make 10 phone calls in one day and only one's going to answer and you only follow through with one. You really have to work to get quotes.
You really do.
And that's why I love the sweaty startups in general, any of these businesses, because if you answer the phone, you're going to get a lot of business.
Yeah, it's literally that simple most of the time.
All right. Beautiful. Any others that you want to share?
That's all I got for now.
I got one more fun one.
Okay.
Just I'm going to throw a wild card at you. What do you think about the concept of ghost kitchens? Have you ever heard of a ghost kitchen?
No.
Imagine a restaurant in a town that didn't have a physical location and only operate on Uber Eats. How cool that would be.
Yeah.
If you're going to start a restaurant, you lease a kitchen from somebody. Maybe you do it at off hours. Maybe you find a breakfast diner that's going to lease it to you. Imagine starting a restaurant that does not need a premier location in town. So you're not paying that $12, $14, $18 a square foot per year. Instead, you can get a little bit of in the back of a warehouse 5 minutes outside of Athens.
Right.
And everybody knows about you. You can do some really cool underground marketing with some delivery and focus on one kind of cool food maybe. Like you're the mac and cheese with bacon on top restaurant. That's all you do. And all of a sudden you get some news around that. You have no kitchen costs, reduced costs
much lower,
on cooking.
Yep.
And focus on delivery. I mean, people are getting much more delivery nowadays. I think about
there's all these companies that are so good at delivery now, efficiency wise. So.
Yeah, you look at 10 years ago, companies had to figure out their own delivery.
Right.
And they had to hire their own delivery people. That's the last thing you wanted to do as a business owner. And now Uber Eats is taking that on. They're solving that problem. The only people who still do it are pizza companies. I think do they even go to Uber Eats now?
I don't know.
I don't get a whole lot of
too
delivery.
cheap to order a pizza
me
delivery.
Too.
I'll go pick it up.
I'm pretty cheap too, unfortunately. But I think that would be a really cool. I think that's going to be something that people start seeing now.
Yeah.
It's a trend that I can see exploding is these ghost kitchens that they don't have an actual place to go. They'll only deliver you food, but they do it really, really well.
Especially if the non-prime location mitigates the entire cost of the delivery. So it's the same price as if you were good to go to a restaurant in a prime location, but at your house.
Yeah. You can get
then it's like a no-brainer.
A great meal for $8 or $10.
Yeah.
And you're still making $4 as the restaurant owner.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about servers. You don't have to worry about all the equipment, all the tables. You literally just have 4 chefs in the back and an app. And boom, crank out food. That's exciting.
Yeah, I think it's doable and scalable.
Yep. All right. Any last words?
That's all the ideas I got for now.
I got tons of ideas. If you want to see
a
lot
as
of
local
ideas,
service.
we both got tons.
With data.
So sweatystartup.com/businesses-I-love is a list of, I think there's 180 businesses on here that I think are prime opportunities for anybody willing to work hard and sweat, get out there and mix it up.
So if one of those don't fit for you, I mean, go find a job somewhere.
All of these that we mentioned are on there, except ghost kitchens. I got to put ghost kitchens on there. But
Awesome. So I'll link that in the description as well on my video.
if you're listening to the pod, you already heard that many, many times.
Yeah.
All right. Talk soon.